Hello, everyone. You'll excuse me if I just seem a little bit frustrated. You'll excuse me if I feel just a little bit out of energy on this one. I had such hope. I had hope in my heart and optimism in my mind. I had all of the things that my dreams were made of laid out in front of me in vivid color. And the picture didn't really turn out the way I wanted it to. So a couple days ago, I did a video just kind of throwing some random speculation about what Dream Together was going to be. This legendary collaboration between Takara Tomy and Bandai of Japan, two of the biggest toy rivals in the world you will ever find. And the idea of them coming together in the first place was already staggering. And then you look at the properties and toy lines they control, and the mind just boggles at how many amazing, like, dream toys could possibly exist and see the light of day. So, we got really excited. A lot of people just really pumped up. And if that wasn't enough, on the same day, Bandai of Japan was due to announce what Complete Style Gigantic was, a spin-off of Complete Selection Modification, meaning we had a double dose of mystery projects and major ones with hype attached to them. So what they turned into was okay. So we're gonna get Complete Style Gigantic out of the way, because I think this was pretty much what everyone figured it was going to be. I had hopes that maybe they'd throw us a curveball, but no, it is Kamen Rider weapon toys at adult size, basically prop replica Kamen Rider toy weapons, which is fine. It's fine. I don't know the collector viability of them, because the weapon toys are never as popular amongst collectors, but they're starting in an interesting place. They are starting with the Titan sword from Kuga, and it's a weird choice, because it's not it's not his primary form. It wasn't even his first like new form he gained in that series. And like there's other riders with far more iconic sidearms. So the idea of throwing in Kuga Titan first, and you have to sit back and you have to kind of like dissect this a little bit. So first off, it's Kuga, and they know Kuga is a big deal. So that's the first Heisei Rider series and the first in this current run of Kamen Rider shows we are still in. They view it as like an origin point for main modern Kamen Riders. In that sense, it is kind of the progenitor of everything. It's their, it's the modern day Ichigo, if you will. So they put a lot of reference on that. And Kuga now is at that nice little 20 to 25-year-old point where it gets into nostalgia. So there are obviously adult collectors of that age who are going to have money to throw around, and this is the first offering that they're going to do. And swords are kind of a safe bet. Like a prop replica sword always looks good, like as a display item. Swords are pretty common. It's why medieval fairs exist. In this case, yeah, it's just basically it's the first Heisei era sword. That's why it gets the nod. It's not a bad piece. It's a really nice looking sword. I'm just thinking, I think back to like what else could it have been, and I think like the Maru from Gaim, like the orange saber. That one came to mind. I'm surprised Den-O wasn't the first one. It is in some kind of like prop replica Den Gasher. But that does raise the kind of question here, is like how much of this is actually going to be gimmicky? Because to my knowledge, they didn't announce or show off any kind of lights or sounds with this. As far as we know, it's just a prop replica sword. As far as I know, there are no electronics attached to this, unless I missed a detail somewhere. So there really isn't a whole lot of like gimmickry. So that does technically mean that some of the weapons that would be, more gimmick driven, like the Dengasher and its multiple modes, or modern rider weapons, things like the Meta Jalabur from O's with the medals that slide in. That might be on the table for this, because if they're not bothering with any kind of gimmick accuracy. If it's just for the sake of having the weapon out and having like a nice version of the weapon to display, okay, fine. That works. Like I said, I kind of wish it was something that the primary form of a rider was known for, because this is not going to display well. If I had a complete selection modification Kuga belt, which by the way is not a modification, it's a completely new mold. If I had that and I put the sword with it, they're gonna go together, but not really, because I can't like permanently light up the purple on the Kuga belt on the Arkle, so it's not going to look entirely right. Is the thing. So like, if they did like, if they did like the drags, if like Ryuki's saber. If they did that one with the complete selection, Ryuki, the Advent belt, that would make sense. That would make complete sense, and that would look really good together. Yeah, there was that hope in my heart that this was going to be helmets, because they've never done helmet toys. Someone asked me, like, they've never done helmets in Japan? I'm like, no. It's never something that struck them as a toy or a replica to make. Typically in Japan, the tradition is what we would know as a Halloween mask. Just that little rubber strap and the cheap plastic shell that looks like the front of a ranger helmet. That's what they get. Kamen Rider helmets, admittedly, are far more complicated with compound eyes and the different horns and shapes. There'd be a lot more assembly to them and a lot more to get accurate than, say, the helmets that Bandai of America and Hasbro produce for Power Rangers. Those are basically just, simple shells that clamp together with what is essentially a very large sunglass lens over the front. Kamen Rider stuff like that would be far more complicated to make, so I kind of understand why they don't want to do it on a production level. But this is going all out. This, I will give them credit. They're going all out with this. It is a huge 1-to-1 scale replica of the weapon, and it is coming with the additional blade in order to create the Rising Titan sword. So good on them for not leaving that out. I assume if they do more of Kuga's weapons down the line, those will include the upgrade parts as well. I can't imagine Dragon's Staff actually coming to the market, because it is just a really long stick. I don't even know how you package or ship that. I really don't. So this might be limited what they can get away with here. Like I said, I'd kind of like to see some of the more modern swords, some of the swords that like riders are identified with, like weaponry, for that matter, rather than any kind of weapon. Like if I can get Hibiki's drumsticks and they put motion sensors into them so I can hear like drum beats when I swing them, I want that. That's what I want out of this line. I'm not even that big on Hibiki, but that just sounds awesome. So hopefully that is down the line. I wasn't betting on this because they've already done this. They did this as yeah, as you can see here, they've already done it. It's the laser blade from Gavon. And it's already a thing. Tamashii Nations just did this as just like a specialty release, which is what threw me off. Like, why do you make an entire new toy line for something that you've already done technically? But if it is a part of a new line, it means they have a lot of plans beyond just this. So I am curious what else they have in the works, and hopefully it's just beyond just Kuga. So that's the good news. That's the good stuff. It wasn't so much of a disappointment as it was just predictable. Like, I was really hoping for something out of the left field here, and they gave me something that's just straight up the middle. And then we got to Dream Together. Oh boy. So, Dream Together is 2 items so far, 1 on each side. So, Bandai gets to release a Chogokin version of the Liger Zero. Now, I mean, okay, don't get me wrong. So this, when we were speculating on this, we were talking about crossover things with different properties. A Transformer Gundam style thing, or kind of like how they did Masterpiece Optimus Prime in like Eva 01 colors. Someone's expecting like weird crossover things like that, transforming RX-78-2 Gundam, that kind of like craziness, the kind of like dream concept that fans have drawn up for years, but that never happened. I wasn't even thinking about popular brands from one company being released in the toy line of the other company. That seems like it's a pretty safe route, isn't it? Like, it doesn't really take any chances or spark any imagination. It's just kind of, here's more toys of things that have already had toys. In this case, the Liger Zero is going to be a really nice looking figure. It looks like it's got a high level of articulation. Like, I consider this box checked because a lot of the model kits they've done have been really, really good, including the one I reviewed. I've still got it. It still looks great. I do understand that because this is not a built model kit, you are going to get a higher level of articulation. It's going to be more durable over time. There's die-cast parts going to be mixed in, and Bandai's usually really good at placing die-cast correctly. And and the articulation is what you're really going for out of this. Like, as far as just like an accurate Liger Zero, I think that box was checked. So I can see a market for this, but it's still like a head scratcher. Like, why would this be the first? And then you realize that Bandai is a model kit company. Like, that is one of the things they are primarily known for. And then they turn the characters they make models into these die-cast figures. So it kind of makes sense that a character like the Liger Zero, who's always known as a model kit, would be in the line like Chogokin. I could actually kind of see that. Okay, so that's not so bad. It's not so bad, but it's only a letdown because, like, there's so many possibilities and they didn't go with any of those. Then there's this. So what Takara Tomy gets to do is release a white base, the original vehicle, like mothership style thing, from Gundam, from the original Gundam anime, and they get it to release it in the TJOmega line. So TJOmega, for those who do not know, is a die-cast car line in Japan that has been going for over 50 years. It is basically their version of Hot Wheels. Cars in that line end up trying to go for 3 inches long, no matter what. So they usually end up around 1/64th scale, but just like Hot Wheels, they're not terribly concerned about like keeping all the cars in scale. It's mostly just hit the right length so they're all the same size. That way they work in all the tracks and play sets that they create, same as Hot Wheels. So that is basically what the white base is. It's just a tiny little die-cast white base that's about 3 inches long. Okay, so don't get me wrong here. Gundam is a massive, massive franchise. And TJOmega, obviously, to be around for 50 years and still be going, is a huge deal. Plenty of collectors. If it's anything like Hot Wheel collectors here in America, there's got to be nuts Hot Wheel TJOmega collectors in Japan. It has to be absolute crazy ones that line their entire walls full of these things, the way we do with Funko Pops. The ones that stalk out the stores, when they open on new release day, just to get in and get that like one per case model. If that is like Hot Wheel collecting here in America, I can understand that being a thing for TJOmega as well. I don't know for sure, but it is potential. It is possible. But it really, like, it doesn't seem fair, does it? It just does not seem fair to me. Here's the last picture I'm going to show you for the video. I think that really sums things up. That really sums things up. Like, who got the short end of this deal? We get to release this super articulated die-cast Liger Zero that looks absolutely awesome. It's completely screen accurate. It can move all the ways a CGI model can. The model kits can't. It's going to have die-cast. It's going to be awesome. This thing's going to be awesome enough to steal your wife. It's going to be that freaking cool. No, we get to... Here's our... Here's our tiny Hot Wheel. Here's our tiny Hot Wheel. Thank you, Lords of Bandai. Thank you for this blessing. Ah, it's just such a... It's not even remotely fair. It's not even remotely fair. They get this one little thing that's going to be like less than 1,000 yen. Oh no, that's not. I might be shortcutting there, but no, we get this cheap little white base here. Yeah, this probably is less than 1,000 yen. Now that I think about it. But and in exchange we get to do this super high-end collector-friendly Liger Zero that's going to be absolutely awesome. I don't know. I feel like that could have been so much. I feel like there should have been something a little bit more even there. Like give me a white base that transforms. Give me something. Give me something larger than that. Can I do Shinkalion? That's the thing. That's where they should have done. Because Shinkalion did the EVA. So Shinkalion should have done the RX-78 too. So they should have had both the most popular giant robos in Japan in the same bullet train transforming toy line. That's where this should have gone. That would have been a fair exchange. Tiny little white base. It's not even a Gundam. It's the Gundam's car, basically. I don't know. So supposedly this is not the end of this collaboration. Supposedly, I think there was language to state that there are going to be more releases for Gundam in the Tomica line. Potentially, I'm sure. Like the Liger Zero's got 3 extra forms they could exploit on top of all the other Zoids that would be popular in that line. I can imagine, like, if this goes well, if both companies are making money off of this, I can't imagine they aren't going to continue. And if fans clamor enough for something besides this as a concept, of course they're going to consider it. And yeah, maybe some of that crazy crossover stuff can still happen, but for now, this isn't what I would call a dream. I know, maybe like an afternoon musing, I would call this. Or a daydream. That's what this is. This is not a dream, Gundam and Transformer, your 2 most popular robot toy lines in the world, coming together. That's a dream project. This is a daydream. This is a daydream. This is just you, bored at work, just thinking about, like, a die-cast Liger Zero would be cool. Yeah, no, they're not gonna make that. No, they're not gonna make that. That's about the level I'm at here. So I was hoping for more, but that's my fault. That's my fault for getting hyped up. So let me know what you think. Maybe I'm completely off base here. Like I said, I know nothing about Tomica, so I don't know how hype this is for Tomica collectors. And tell me in the comments for the Zoid fans, is this any better? Does this check a box that does not get met by any of those like really big high-end model kits that Zoids have already gotten? Is this a Liger Zero that's worth putting aside the one you've already got in order to get? Genuinely curious for some other perspectives here. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for letting me vent my frustrations over what was to me a disappointing set of announcements. And fingers crossed that this is the beginning of something and that we still have more options on the way, because I know for me it could only go up from here. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.